It happened so fast. He took my neck and he threw me on the ground. And he choked me, and of course, all the profanities and verbal, that was just a blur in my head. I was just in panic mode. I was just thinking, oh God, not again, not again. Knowing that I was gonna die that night. He walks behind me and he puts the barrel of the gun behind my neck. And he cocks the gun. I was just praying for the safety of my son.
When I think of shelter, I guess I would say now I basically think of safety and new beginnings.
It's important for every human being to have a place where they feel safe in the world. And for most of us, it's our home. Unfortunately, for victims of intimate partner violence, there is no safe zone.
Shelter from the Storm is the Valley's only emergency shelter for women and children that are victims of domestic violence.
For women to be able to free themselves from the fear of living with a person who is abusing them, to me, there's nothing more important. That's the bottom line.
Domestic violence situations are often like that, where I was afraid to stay and I was afraid to go. So it's like, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna take care of my children like this? It was just something about that one argument that was the last straw for me.
All that was left of me was a little flicker in my soul. If I had stayed longer, it was going to be gone.
My first husband was an abuser. I know how devastating it is to have a person that creates fear and creates anxiety.
When women arrive at the shelter, they are just a shadow of themselves usually.
I don't know if you can imagine the amount of courage that it takes to pick up a phone, put your kids in a car, and then walk in there not knowing what to expect.
They offer the emergency shelter for 60 days. Women and children can stay there and get the immediate care that they need.
It involves counseling, it involves group therapy. We have 2 schools on site, a fully equipped medical clinic.
The women are helped to get a job so that women can go back to work and start developing a life on their own.
It gives you peace, and then with that peace, you're allowed to focus on getting your life together and moving on to a happy life.
Right now, the shelter is fighting for survival. We have lost 100% of our state funding.
Shelter has to be open 24/7, 365 in order to service the needs.
It's the Coachella Valley Shelter, and it's the Coachella Valley's women and children that are coming there.
Shelter desperately needs support of any kind. Everyone can help.
For me, the violent portion of my life was one small chapter in a book of life that's been wonderful and colorful. And if we can help to fundraise and keep the shelter open for as many women and children as need it, then everything won't have been in vain. When I tuck my children when they were young into bed at night, I would say a prayer to them that was, "Thank you, God, for this plain old ordinary day." I cannot tell you how grateful I am to have all these plain old ordinary days.
It was my children that caused me to say, I must do something.
I feel like I have my breath back, in my body, that I can breathe again. I got her back, that person that I lost and got her back, and not just back, but better. You are worth it, and you can do it.
It is possible to leave an abusive relationship, but it takes time, it takes patience, it takes strength, and it takes courage. That's what Shelter from the Storm's for.